Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Verna. This is TTT News. It's time for the headlines. Steel bands receive prize monies for Panorama 2019 exactly 1 week after the major competition. Minister of Culture and the Arts to consider another criteria for judging the road march. And in sport, Windies playing for pride in final T20 with England tomorrow. Steel bands that participated in the various 2019 Panorama competitions received their prize monies on Saturday from the governing body for steel pan Trinidad-Tobago. A total of $15 million was distributed through checks to the steel bands in the junior non-school bands, single pan, small, medium and large steel bands. The payment to steel bands comes just 1 week after the Panorama finals. Trinidad-Tobago President Beverly Ramsey Moore said she believes bands must be paid right away.
That the uniform person who make a uniform, they're waiting for pay, right? The man who drive the truck to bring you in town, they're waiting for their money, right? The arranger got only a little piece. He waiting for the rest, right? The drill master, he waiting patiently.
The prize money to bands does not cover payment to players. Ms. Ramsey Moore said steel bands would have to decide how the prize money is shared. She called on steel band leaders to create employment throughout the year for their players. She said, however, as long as Panorama 2019 is declared profitable, there may be funds to pay the players individually.
Based on our profits, we are yet to hear about our gate receipts and all of that, and as long as that is disclosed to us, then we will know how to move forward with our member band so that they can give something to their players.
Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts, Dr. Nian Gadsby-Dolly, praised the high quality of the 2019 Panorama competition. She said from the prelims to the semis and through to the finals of Panorama 2019, the results were keenly anticipated. And she also congratulated the steel band movement for keeping Pan alive among the youth.
Teachers and members of the Pan fraternity, and sometimes you hear people saying things like Pan is dying. And I wonder if some of those people come to see some of the events where the juniors and see the enthusiasm,
Meanwhile, the Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts has commended the success of the 2019 Carnival Festival, but says the way in which this country's road march is counted has to change. She says for 2 years, the tabulation of the title has been discussed, and there is a need to encourage more spectators to the Queen's Park Savannah.
If you are a spectator in the savannah, what you would notice is that you hear the same song over and over and over again. And when trucks are coming into the savannah and trucks are at the stage, what you hear is simply cacophony. You hear the same song at different stages of being played, and it is not anything that is particularly enjoyable. And so, as early as 2 years ago, we started a discussion about either removing the savannah itself as a judging point and just playing house music in the savannah, or finding some other way to judge the road march. Because
Minister Gadsby-Dolly says the suggestion of using a digital platform to decide on a road march winner has been an option.
we want to bring back families into the savannah and make the viewing of mass something that is spectator friendly. We certainly can't continue that way. And so this issue of how we judge road march certainly is one that we have been discussing, and we take the views on board. I heard there's a view about using an online kind of voting for road march, and we can take all of those points into consideration, but I think the time has come for us to look differently at how we judge that road march competition.
Chairman of the National Carnival Commission, Winston Gypsy Peters, believes Tobago will fare better with a standalone carnival. Speaking during a clash of Calypso Tent's Kaiso House and Back to Basics at the Kaiso House tent on Thursday, the former ex-Tempo champion said it's about time Tobago goes it alone.
The next carnival, Tobago don't need help with any carnival. They need to scrap the carnival in Tobago that they're trying to put on together with Trinidad Carnival that depletes the value of the Tobago Carnival in the first place, and have a Tobago standalone carnival. Tobago need that. If you're thinking about the economics of the Tobago of carnival, Tobago need a standalone carnival. You have little places like Nevis and St. Kitts, and they have standalone carnival, not because they want to do that, but because the economics of it is what drives it.
He added, this country is a carnival land and therefore the festivity should not be a once-a-year event.
We have the borough, they turn it into a carnival, turn it into a full-fledged carnival where we advertise it and get more people to come to Trinidad. We have the one down in St. James that we have. Let's turn Trinidad and Tobago the land of carnival. How long it will take us to see that this is what we have spawned. This is ours. Carnival belong to us.
After more than 30 years, the residents of Susu Lands in Fabo Village, San Juan, finally have a new road. At the commissioning of a 4-month concrete drainage and roadworks project, Minister of Works and Transport Rohan Sinanan said the works will benefit 500 households. Marie Hall tells us more.
At last, the project that was on the table as far back as 1987 is completed.
When I first come up here, it was just track. You know, we had to go to the market, put our load on our head, and I'm really pleased and glad to see, you know, the infrastructure, how it's going, and I hope that, you know, it will have more because we have all up in the back, you know, to get road, and then as they were speaking about the road, you know, adjoining, which is very good.
Susan James, like other residents of the Susu Lands community, are pleased they now have easier access to their homes. Works and Transport Minister Rohan Sinanan said after visiting the area, he decided it was a project that had to be undertaken.
On our tour in 2017, the Member of Parliament would have brought us to this site, and I think this site really wanted some infrastructure because you have 500 residential lots inside of here. It's a main thoroughfare, and we decided that this is one of the projects in this constituency that we would have had to prioritize.
He said the project, which cost taxpayers $3.2 million, was properly tendered.
Although the pure unit would have done the job, they recognize that the Ministry of Works now what we have is something called competitive tendering. So the tenders for this job would have ranged in some instances close to about $6 million. It was awarded for 3.2, and the contractor was able to deliver a perfect job within the time and the budget.
The project was completed within 4 months. The road was opened by Works and Transport Minister and Member of Parliament for St. Anne's East, Dr. Nian Gaspidoli. Marie Hall, TTT News.
And the Minister of Works and Transport says new legislation has to be put in place to penalize drivers who intend to go over the weight requirement for bridges and highway overpasses. Speaking at the commissioning of the Susu Lands roadway, Minister Rohan Sinanan responded to an accident which took place at the Claxton Bay overpass on the Solomon Hochoy Highway on Wednesday.
On Wednesday was total madness because there's a certain height for bridges. When you drive down the Uriah Butler Highway, the church, wherever there's a bridge, there's a certain height stipulation. And we had a vehicle that was above that and ran straight into the bridge. There was damage to the infrastructure. So what we're doing now is assessing the damage to the infrastructure, and we will be going after the company and recovering the cost for any remedial work that has to go in there.
He said, as it stands, the fine for crossing the overpass is not a strong deterrent.
There's just a $750 charge for these infringements. And, I mean, most of the contractors told us they don't mind paying the $750 because they would make that back on one load. And if they pull 2 and 3 loads to the day, and if they get pulled aside once every 6 months, you know, so we have to look at the law, but again, we have to work with the contractors because what we don't want to do is to keep back the construction sector. And we don't want to...
One attorney at law is concerned that for the second time in less than a year, there has been yet another accident involving inmates of the maximum security prison and Golden Grove after an amalgamated truck transporting 11 inmates got into an accident on the Priority bus route on Thursday. Charlene Lewis reports.
Attorney at law Neera Narayan said the convoy was on its way from the Port of Spain High Court when a party of prisoners to the Golden Grove prison when the vehicle flipped and landed on the hood at the side of the road. Ms. Narayan indicated on board were prisoners returning to the maximum security prison and the remand section of the Golden Grove prison. The ripple effect caused the bus to crash into the panel van, which then went out of control and toppled.
involving some prison vehicles and around the vicinity of Carib Brewery. There would have been 11 prisoners on board when this particular accident happened. At this point in time, however, I am trying to confirm whether or not there would have been any reports made to the police station. My information is that the prisoners were treated at the Arima Hospital. However, I'm still yet to confirm any of the information.
Ms. Narayan said that one of the 11 inmates who were involved in Thursday's crash was just last year also injured in another accident, making its return from court, and she said she is concerned about the lack of road safety by amalgamated drivers.
These inmates are being transported from the prisons to the respective various locations, courthouses, etc. And there is no concern for the safety during transportation. There is no adherence to speed limits. There is no, it's complete abandon for, the road safety or road safety laws.
To this end, she said she's still ascertaining facts before she decides to pursue the matter to the fullest. Sherilyn Lewis, TTT News.
More to come. Stay with us.
Dunamis Experience is a weekly presentation of the Montrose New Testament Church of God. It is Central Trinidad's fastest growing Pentecostal church. Here the Lord Jesus Christ is glorified and the congregation edified. Pastor B.A. Hamid has faithfully served this church for more than 4 decades. His weekly messages are powerful and anointed. Why not visit us and experience the difference in our worship services? Our church is committed to building your faith, your family, and your future.
With only pride on the line for the West Indies heading into the third T20I against England on Sunday, the hosts can relax and seek a much improved batting display as they try to forget the shambolic 45 in Game 2. England won that match convincingly by 137 runs after the hosts crashed to the lowest T20 total by a full ICC member team ever. Skipper Jason Holder will be hoping his players have short memories and put that behind them as they try to salvage something from the T20 series, having already won the Test series while drawing the One-Day series. With this effectively a dead rubber, both teams can afford to make changes, with Chris Gayle due for a rest, which clears the way for fellow Jamaican John Campbell to make his T20 debut for the Windies. First bowl is at 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. The up-and-down season of the TNT Red Force cricketers continued over in Guyana when they lost their latest West Indies Championship match to the tournament leaders on Day 3 at the Providence. Set 162 to win, the Guyanese reached 69 for 2 overnight in their day-night encounter. Opener Tej Narayan Chandapal played the sheet anchor and batted through to ensure there was no slip-up, as obtained at the Queen's Park Oval back in January when their batting flopped in the last innings. He made a patient unbeaten 43, while Leon Johnson led the way with 76, which included 14 boundaries. They blunted the TNT bowling with a match-winning third-wicket partnership with 111 runs to set up the win, as Guyana reached 163 for 4 to win by 6 wickets. The Guyanese remain out front in the standings, while TNT remains cemented at the bottom of the table. Some significant strides by local cyclists as they look to land TNT in next year's Olympics in Tokyo. Ruskin Mark has more on the upward thrust of locals like Nicholas Paul, who is ranked 4th among world sprinters on two-wheelers.
Fast bowlers, they say, like elite strikers, usually hunt in pairs, just like the famous spin twins Ramadan and Valentine. But in the case of local cycling, it's an awesome foursome that is making the world sit up and take notice, as they have TNT ranked 3rd in the world among sprint nations in the latest UCI rankings, but 11th in Olympic standings. TNT has 4,338 points, with more than half of those credited to sprint sensation Nicholas Paul, the baby of the bunch. He's ranked 4th in the world among sprinters with 2,420 points, the vast majority of which came from his exploits at the Pan Am Games in Mexico last September, where he helped Team TTO to the team sprint gold and cupped the individual sprint silver for good measure. He then accredited himself among the best in the world at the World Cup events with 5th, 6th and 11th place finishes for another 880 points. Then at the just concluded World Championships in Poland, the 21-year-old earned another 450 crucial points with a 7th place finish in the sprints. He's joined in the top 100 sprinters by teammate Jacine Phillips at 27th with 1,332 points, Karen Bramble 65th with 586 points, and Chrissy Brown in 74th with 546 points. Together, they have TNT dreaming of the Tokyo Olympics, even though they currently sit in 11th spot but could break into the crucial top 8 by the end of the next World Cup season in March of next year. TNT is also well placed in the elite men's keirin event, where Chrissy Brown is holding his own in 12th position, up from 19th previously. The appointment of Aaron Hartwell as technical director and head coach, as well as the use of a world-class cycling velodrome in Couva on which to train on a daily basis, are just some of the factors which have contributed to the team's strong showing. Ruskin Mark, TTT Sports.
Turning to some horse racing news now, where Trini-Navigator stole the day's feature event out at Santa Rosa Park. Kept off the lead while others carried the pace for most of the race. That's until they turned for home and things changed in a hurry.
Trini-Navigator is way back there in that 4th spot. Then we come back to Sea of Dance, and Blind Date seems to be struggling as they're about to confront the stretch run and into the stretch now. And Ravishing is still in front there. Ravishing still in front as Trini-Navigator gives chase in 2nd. How Sweet It Is on the outside in 3rd. Desert Dancer is 4th. Running on from the back of the pack is Blind Date and Sea of Dance. But Trini-Navigator has taken the lead now, and Trini-Navigator goes on. Ravishing has nothing to offer. Then comes How Sweet It Is. But Trini-Navigator, nicely handled by Ali to get the job done in the end. Tight for 2nd between Ravishing and How Sweet It Is. Blind Date ran well for 4th.
2 weeks. That's when the largest dragon boating event in this country's history will take place at the Pigeon Point Heritage Park in Tobago. Tonight we resume our look at the teams with one of the most dominant teams in this country, Aquaholics. Kent Fuentes has more.
They have been the team to beat for some time at home and in the region. And now with competition coming here for the Pan American Club Crew Championships, they are ready.
We've been thinking about this ever since it first advertised it that we're going to have Pan Am in Tobago as marketing as the Extreme Dragon Boat, and we're mentally preparing for it since then. We started preparing as soon as the October regatta was done last year. So we're on track for Pan Am in March.
How much does it mean as a competitor to have the sport come to his shores?
This is very good because being that Aquaholics has been on for Pan Am in Canada in 2015, being part of the Caribbean and having it on our own soil, I think it is very good for tourism, showing that Trinidad and Tobago has a dragon boat federation and putting us on the map. And I think with being on not home soil but home water, we have a pretty good advantage.
Dragon boat racing is a team sport with crews of upwards of 20 members, and with this in mind, Lau Kwan believes it can help with the sports tourism drive.
Because we're trying to diversify away from energy stuff, I think Tobago has a very good advantage to take advantage of this for tourism. I think it's good for diversification and the economy, and that's what we need, something like this now.
But what are his team's goals for the tournament?
Seeing that we took the 1st, 2nd and 3rd gold, silver and bronze in Canada in 2015, I think we're going out there to win everything. I mean, we don't train hard to come second, try to come first.
The competition is set for March 22nd to 24th at Pigeon Point, Tobago. Kent Fuentes, TTT Sports.
More to come. Stay with us.
Whether you are on the road or at the beach, preserve our beautiful nation of which we are proud by properly disposing of your waste. Because environmental pride is national pride.
Now for a look at the weather. Trinidad-Tobago and the remainder of the Lesser Antilles Tonight, mostly clear and cool with a gentle breeze. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and at times breezy. There is also a low chance, 20 to 30% light to moderate showers could occur in confined areas. Nighttime, mostly clear, except for some brisk showers developing after midnight. Seas are moderate. Waves up to 2 meters in open waters and near calm in sheltered areas. Cancer remains the leading cause of death among women in Trinidad and Tobago, with gynecological cancer contributing to hundreds of deaths. Gynecologist and former government minister Dr. Tim Gopi Singh made the revelation while speaking at the opening of the 4th annual Gyne Oncology Conference at the Hyatt Regency Hotel on Saturday.
In Trinidad and Tobago, cancer is the leading cause of death in women, and the second leading cause of death in men. And 45% of the deaths in women is from gynecologic cancers. We still have quite a high percentage of deaths from cervical cancer. The screening program has not been very successful. Over 200 deaths from cervical cancer. We have more than 200 deaths from breast cancer, and we have prostate cancer. So
the two-day conference hosts speakers from the United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada and the United States, with the main objective being the encouragement of collaboration and research within the Caribbean with international partners in the gyne oncology community. Director of Women's Health at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Adesh Sirju Singh, said the conference couldn't have been more timely.
But we have started some work. I again applaud Vishal and the organizing team in arranging this timely conference, and I know the program has a range of key topics and a number of expert presenters. When Vishal came to the committee and asked for assistance, the Ministry of Health was very pleased to be associated with the organizing committee.
Hundreds turned out at the Queen's Park Savannah to march for women's rights and gender equality. At the 3rd annual Women's Rights Rally and March held by the University of the West Indies St. Augustine Institute for Gender and Development Studies, the message was clear: a call to demand better and march for gender justice. Marie Hull reports.
With placards in hand, several members' groups marched around the Queen's Park Savannah in commemoration of International Women's Day. The goal, demanding balance for better.
We're really excited to be out here marching for gender justice, and in the international theme, which is balance for better, we are pushing that even more to say demand better, march for gender justice.
Even the unions had their say.
We are trade unionists and we are committed to all rights for equal gender for people. So that is our main purpose in being here today.
Managing Director of Wholeness and Wellness Counseling Services, Dr. Tracy Rogers, said the International Women's Day theme speaks volumes for gender equality.
Really, this year, the International Women's Day theme is about balance. So we're really kind of emphasizing balance in mental health and the fact that women are affected by mental health at a higher rate than men. And we really want to highlight so many ways when it comes to reproductive health issues, miscarriages. 40% of women are more likely to experience depression or anxiety after pregnancy within the first year of having a child. So there are some very...
Womantra founder and co-director Stephanie Leach hailed the turnout.
I think the turnout is great, and we were expecting there to be a little less than usual this year because it's so close to Carnival, and that's why we really tried to push for like a last lap theme and Carnival theme for this year, because we knew people would be tired, but we're happy with you coming out.
The theme for this year's rally and march was Demand Better, March for Gender Justice. Marie Hall, TTT News.
Founder and co-director of Womantra, Stephanie Leach, has clapped back at former Minister of Health, Dr. Fuad Khan, for allegedly publicly discussing masquerader Candice Santana's full figure on social media. Ms. Santana posted to social media about having a particular level of confidence and self-love. Today, at the 3rd annual Women's Rights Rally, the Womantra head spoke out against Dr. Khan's comments.
I think that Candice Santana did a very brave thing, sharing her own story on her social media, and the fact that it went viral stands testament to how powerful that was. And I think she gave a voice to many women who don't fit this very cookie-cutter capitalist model of who should play mass and what kind of body should be on the road. And I just find it absolutely shocking that Fuad Khan would make those comments, particularly on International Women's Day. And, you know,
more to come. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Pastor Lisa Singh from Heavenly Grace Ministries in New York, and I want to take the opportunity to invite you to join me right here every Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. We are starting a new series called The Beatitudes, and there is so much meat in this message that is going to transform your lives for the better. So I'm really excited to have you join me. I'm looking forward to it every Sunday, 7:30 a.m. right here. Be blessed.
Carnival may be over, but it doesn't mean the Calypso has stopped. Last evening, Kaiso House hosted the Back to Basics tent in a clash where several top boards from both tents entertained patrons. Ian Wason was there and brings us the highlights.
Manager of the Back to Basics tent, Winston Gypsy Peters, said the clash between Kaiso House and Back to Basics on Thursday was important and a good start in keeping Calypso alive throughout the year. He accepted the invitation of Kaiso House, which is run by Tuco's national executive, for the clash 2 days after Carnival.
It is a step in the right direction. I don't know why we only using Calypso seasonally and for Carnival. Calypso is our culture. Listen, throughout the year you hear rap. Throughout the year you hear soul song. Throughout the year you hear reggae. Why we only have to be doing Calypso? We believe that Calypso should only be... We should be doing this all the time. As a matter of fact, this should be done all the time.
He said while that was a start, there is so much more that can be done.
Of course, and it should have it. Not just with tents, but we should have collaborations with everybody and everything all the time when we have this music continuously going. As a matter of fact, I want us to have more carnivals in Trinidad.
The clash brought together the top singers from both tents, including Spicy.
But not as long as you want to. While you're doing, keep in mind, everything in life is for a time. You see, today you may be dull, tomorrow you shine. Cause life don't stay one way all the time. Likewise, today you're in front, tomorrow you're behind. Cause life don't stay one way all the time.
And Luther.
Come on and play a song for the Fosto. Yeah. Play one for Shadow. And if the Fosto was here today, you're sure to hear him holler. Don't stop until you play one for Professor.
But none could have beaten Rex East, who had the fans in stitches.
Oh Brenda, you're so nice. You have skin nice skies. When I watch your dance, I thought for romance. Darling, you like a honeybee. You put in sweetness in me. Oh yeah, sweetness in me back. I want to attack. Sweetness in me spine. I can't help but whine. Sweetness make me fall. Oh yo 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 yo. Sweetness.
With such performances, it could perhaps be argued that Calypso is indeed alive and well. Ian Wason, TTT News.
That's our TTT News. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Verna. Have a good night.